The movie opens with a CIA paramilitary unit called Overwatch, preparing for an operation. The team is stationed outside a suspected safe house believed to contain Russian operatives in possession of a deadly chemical compound known as C4MG. This substance is extremely volatile and can be weaponized into bombs capable of devastating entire nations. The operation is being led by James Silva, referred to by his team as Jimmy, and is overseen remotely by Agent James Bishop, who guides them from headquarters with aerial and satellite support. Armed with cutting-edge surveillance and technology, the team is confident in their ability to complete the mission. Jimmy sends Alice, one of his teammates, to the front door to gain access. After a brief attempt at conversation, Alice forces her way in. A violent shootout follows as the team neutralizes the armed suspects and begins searching the house for the hard drive containing data on the chemical compound. However, enemy reinforcements hidden inside launch a brutal counterattack. In the chaos, one team member is fatally shot. Amidst the gunfire, a teenage boy escapes and triggers an explosion inside the house. Though he survives by jumping out of a window, half his body is severely burned. Jimmy arrives on the scene and, without hesitation, executes the boy after he pleads for his life, believing it to be the only option to prevent future threats. However, they discover no chemical compound inside, and the mission ends in disappointment. Later, Jimmy watches a news report revealing that the boy he killed was only 18 years old. Although he acted under senior orders, guilt begins to eat at him. Time passes, 16 months to be exact, and the team is reassigned to a new mission. Track down the elusive C4MG they failed to secure over a year ago. They begin reviewing surveillance footage and intelligence from the earlier operation, only to realize the house had merely contained explosives, firearms, and some counterfeit paintings. No sign of the actual chemical. But now, based on new, reliable intel, they believe they may finally be closing in on the real location. Jimmy and his team head to the American embassy to brief officials on the urgency and danger of the chemical compound, stressing the need to act fast. The team must locate the C4MG as quickly as possible. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy entire nations. Time is running out, and every second counts. As the team discusses their next move at the American embassy, someone arrives at the door holding a hard drive. The man identifies himself as Lee Noor and claims that the drive contains multiple locations where the C4MG is hidden. This immediately grabs the team's attention. This is the very man they've been looking for. Jimmy and his team begin a background check on Lee Noor. They discover he's just a regular police officer with no family, no criminal record, and a completely clean profile. But something about him doesn't sit right with Jimmy. He becomes suspicious. How did this man suddenly appear at the embassy with such vital information? The team attempts to access the hard drive but discovers it's encrypted. To unlock it, they need a specific code, one they don't have. Alice steps in to negotiate. Lee Noor offers a deal. He'll give them the password, but only if they guarantee his safe passage out of the country and help him return to his homeland. He also warns them that once the hard drive is connected to a computer, they'll have only 8 hours to enter the password. If they fail, the drive will self-destruct. To prove his credibility, Lee Noor shares the location of a painting where some of the compound is hidden. The team verifies the lead and retrieves the hidden C4 milligrams, confirming that he's telling the truth. But Jimmy remains cautious and orders a lie detector test to confirm if Lee Noor really knows the remaining locations and the hard drive password. Lee Noor passes the polygraph, confirming he's telling the truth. Suddenly, the foreign minister of Indonesia arrives, accompanied by an official named Axel. Since they're still on Indonesian soil, the minister demands custody of Lee Noor. But Jimmy refuses to hand him over. He tells his team he suspects Noor is no ordinary cop. Multiple nations are after him, and that means he's hiding something valuable. The tension escalates when Axel tries to take Lee Noor by force. Even while handcuffed, Lee Noor manages to overpower him in an intense fight and kills him. Alice and her teammate Sam witness the fight and are stunned. How can a supposedly regular policeman fight like a trained assassin? Jimmy watches the security footage and is equally shocked. He concludes that Noor must have a military background, likely special forces. Jimmy finally agrees to Noor's terms. They'll help him escape in exchange for the drive's decryption. With time running out, the team begins to plan their exit strategy from Indonesia. The team prepares to transport Lee Noor to the location where a plane will take him to his destination. But the mission is far from simple. The government is doing everything it can to stop them. The hard drive holds critical data, including the exact locations of the C-4MG, making it highly sought after by multiple global powers. The airstrip from where Lee Noor must depart is exactly 22 miles away, and they expect fierce resistance along the way. The journey is dangerous and unpredictable, so they must stay fully alert. As they hit the road the next day, Lee Noor opens up to Jimmy. He says he once uncovered the truth about several national traitors and tried to expose the corruption in his country to the world. In retaliation, they killed his entire family. Now, they're after him, trying to silence him forever. Midway through their journey, their enemies catch on to their route. All connections and surveillance systems are disrupted, leaving the team in the dark. Axel's men arrive and plant a bomb on the team's vehicle. As the car moves further down the road, it explodes. Everyone is injured, but Sam is hurt the worst. When Jimmy rushes to help her, Sam tells him she can't go any further. She insists that Jimmy and the others leave while she stays behind to buy them time. Before they part, she pulls out a grenade and hands it to Jimmy. Jimmy, Alice, Lee Noor, and another teammate named William manage to escape. Meanwhile, Axel's men start closing in on Sam. As they approach, Sam detonates the grenade, taking out the attackers and herself. Jimmy witnesses the explosion and is devastated by the loss of his teammates. Filled with rage, he pulls out his gun and points it at Noor, demanding the password immediately. But Noor remains defiant. He tells Jimmy to shoot if he must, but he won't give up the password under threat. Jimmy backs down, realizing he has no choice. Meanwhile, the team is running low on ammunition. They decide to head to a local restaurant that serves as a hidden cache point, where they collect more weapons and gear. While gathering supplies, Jimmy spots Axel outside the restaurant and is stunned. Bishop warns him not to engage, but Jimmy ignores the advice and walks toward Axel. Axel offers a deal: hand over Noor, and the rest of the team can leave unharmed. Otherwise, everyone dies. Jimmy rejects the offer, stating firmly that Noor stays with them. As Jimmy turns back to the restaurant, he notices two women walking out, and instantly suspects something's off. Moments later, he spots a grenade inside the building. He rushes back in, shouting for everyone to evacuate. The grenade detonates, and Jimmy is severely injured. The two women then attack him and a brutal fight breaks out. While Alice helps the others escape, Jimmy is left to fend for himself, battling the two assassins who are now trying to kill him. Jimmy receives help just in time, and together with his allies, they take down the two deadly assassins. They rush back to their vehicle and try to escape, but Axel's forces are relentless. They're still in pursuit. As the team flees, continuous attacks leave them worn down, injured, and desperate. It becomes clear they won't make it out easily. Bishop suggests a nearby apartment complex where they can regroup. Everyone exits the car and heads toward the building, but William is gravely injured. He can barely walk. He tells the team to go ahead while he stays back to hold off Axel's men. With courage, he makes his final stand. Axel's forces arrive, and William fights valiantly, taking down enemy after enemy. But he's outnumbered and outgunned. Eventually, Axel himself shows up and riddles William with bullets, ending his life. Meanwhile, Jimmy, Alice, and Noor make it safely inside the building and begin following Bishop's directions toward the parking level. As they move deeper inside, Axel's men breach the building and a brutal gunfight erupts. Alice spots a small girl in the chaos and instinctively shields her, trying to keep her safe amid the crossfire. Bullets fly from every direction, and Jimmy realizes he can't risk losing another teammate. He calls Bishop and requests a blackout, cut the power to the entire building. Bishop complies, plunging everything into darkness. Then, Jimmy turns to Noor and, while freeing his hand restraints, asks him to promise that he'll help save Alice. Noor agrees. With their alliance solidified, Jimmy and Noor launch a joint counterattack. They move like shadows through the dark, picking off Axel's men one by one with ruthless precision. No one stands a chance. Meanwhile, Alice hides with the girl in a nearby room, but danger is closing in. The most lethal member of Axel's team enters, a towering brute with unmatched strength. Alice fights back fiercely, managing to stab him and slow him down, but her attacks barely faze him. He retaliates viciously, overpowering her. Just when it seems like she might not survive, we return to Jimmy and Noor, who spot the little girl and urgently ask where Alice is. The camera cuts to Alice, still trapped, wounded, and fighting for her life against the monstrous enemy. Just as the monstrous enemy is about to kill Alice, Noor arrives in time and shoots him down, saving her life. The team quickly regroups and escapes the building, jumping into their vehicle and racing away. But their relief is short-lived. Halfway down the road, they spot Axel's car blocking their path. Jimmy wastes no time. He calls Bishop and orders a drone strike. Within moments, Axel's vehicle is obliterated in a fiery explosion. Jimmy and Noor finally reach the extraction point. As they arrive, Jimmy immediately asks Noor for the password. Noor gives it to him, fulfilling his end of the deal. Jimmy relays it to Bishop, who quickly uses it to access critical data. Suddenly, they have the exact locations of every CGM operative in hiding. But their victory is fleeting. Within moments, their entire system crashes. A chilling image flashes across the screen. It's the boy who died at the beginning of the film. The truth is finally revealed. The entire mission was a setup, orchestrated to destroy Overwatch. It turns out, the woman behind the network is the mother of the boy Jimmy killed. Fueled by revenge, she manipulated everything to dismantle Overwatch. She contacted Lee Noor, a triple agent working for the Russian government, and used him to feed selective information to the US Embassy, just enough to manipulate their movements. One by one, Overwatch agents were hunted down. Only 2 field agents now remain, and both are with Noor. Jimmy instructs Alice to keep an eye on Noor and return once he's dropped off. But as Noor leaves, he calls Jimmy by his secret code name, something no outsider should know. Jimmy suddenly realizes Noor had been informed from the very beginning. Everything starts to make sense. Meanwhile, we cut to Bishop's safe house, where armed enemies storm the location and massacre everyone inside. Bishop, tragically, is killed. The final twist cuts deep. The woman behind the network reveals she never wanted Jimmy dead. She wanted him to live, with the burden of loss. Just as she had lost her son, she wanted Jimmy to feel the same isolation and pain of losing everyone close to him. Now, Jimmy finally understands Noor's betrayal and the role he played in this deadly conspiracy. Alone and devastated, Jimmy vows revenge. He will find Noor, and he will kill him. And with that, Mile 22 comes to a dramatic and emotional close. If you liked the movie, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more awesome recaps.